So right out of the bat, I'm using the new Canon R6 V shooting this video, handheld, walking, because this got in-body stabilization, it got tally light, it got everything that I like on the previous R50 V, Coolpix, Power Shot, V1 and the C50. But this got one thing that C50 doesn't have. Probably one of the biggest thing is that, for me, the biggest thing is that this got in-body stabilization. So now I'm using the in-body up to 7.5 stop stabilization with the lens OIS. This is a new lens as well. 20-50 f4 PZ lens, which is really great. The size is great, the zoom range is great, 20mm, great for selfie. And 50, pretty useful. 50 is pretty useful. Of course, I would like to have more zoom, but you can't have everything. This have constant f4, maximum f4 aperture. Also, with in-body stabilization, I don't have to use digital IS, which crop in. I can use the whole full 20mm, which is great for selfie like this. And talk about using the whole 20mm, this has open gate as well, so I can use the whole sensor, actually using the whole sensor for this. I'm shooting 7K open gate, which is great. What is open gate? I explained it before, but this time let me explain it again quickly. Using the whole 3x2 sensor, you've got a 3x2 video. Crop it to 16:9, you got extra space on top and bottom. Other camera give you 16:9 video. When you crop it to vertical, it gets tight. But if you crop from 3x2, not so tight. I think every time Canon release something like, oh, it's made for influencer, made for YouTuber, every time I said, oh, this is great. I don't say it every time just to like, oh, everything is great, but this is even better than the C50. The C50 already is really great for YouTuber, for someone like me, but this is better. So yeah, what is it all about? Yeah, this one. They look so similar. When we first arrived at the office, we actually like, we keep looking at the C50 like, oh, this is a new one. And then, oh no, it's the no, and then we look at R50, we kind of pick it up, like, oh, it's really small, the new R6 V. And then no, it's this one. So yeah.
Same image of the R6 Mark V.
Let's see, can we film when we are both talking? So this is the R6 V. So we think, what's it all about? It's maybe a little bit more easy to understand when you compare them side by side. This is the C50 before. C stands for cinema, of course. This is in here, and then we have the R6 Mark III that you should be familiar with. The thing is, these three use the same sensor, same 32.5 megapixel sensor. Maybe not that important for a video camera, but they do have the same sensor. So basically, before that, you got these two choices, R6 Mark III and then the C50. Big difference. Now, smaller difference, because this is what Canon doing now, like convert every camera into a V series. So later you probably may see R5V, don't know, probably. So before that, they did that with R50. So they changed the R50 into this R50V that we looked at this before. But maybe it's still a bit confusing. Let's look at a chart over there. So here is why you subscribe to my channel, because I give you this. Really easy to understand, like which camera should you get. This is the R6 Mark III, and the mirrorless one, as you know, this is a new R6 V. Maybe I put new here. This is the new R6 V, and then we have the C50, the one before. So the first thing is that R6 Mark III, IBIS. The new one, IBIS. C50, low bis. Not a huge problem, because as I mentioned, image stabilization on Canon lenses are always pretty good. So C50, if you want stabilization, you have to rely on lens image stabilization. But by today's standard, when we already got used to really good image stabilization, the C50 with just lens OIS, it feels kind of like it's good, but could be better. But the R6 V, IBIS, C50, and the new R6 V have a cooling fan. So this is a good thing. R6 Mark III doesn't have a fan. It's primarily a still camera, so you don't see fan on R6 Mark III. Is it a big problem? Depends. I have been using a camera without fan. First YouTube camera I have, the Sony A7S Mark II, no fan. I use it in Hong Kong, it could get really hot. Sometimes it overheats, but for what I do, for YouTube, every time I roll the camera, it probably runs for 20 minutes top. Without fan, it really isn't a big problem for what I do, but it really depends on what you do. Sealing. I just put sealing here because they say the R6 V have moisture and dust resistance. That's too long to put it here. So sealing, R6 Mark III have some kind of sealing, R6 V some kind of sealing. C50, it's a pro camera, professional. Professional don't need sealing. When you're professional, when you're using a cinema camera, you got your crew, you got somebody to hold an umbrella for you, or you got some protection for the cameras. C50 just don't have sealing, that's the fact. What other stuff? R6 Mark III, because it is a still camera primarily, so it got EVF, it got mechanical shutter. A lot of people would say that about the C50 or a lot of camera that they remove the EVF, like why would they do that? But to be honest, I have my Panasonic S5, S5 Mark II, S5, S1 II. I use them for a really long time. How many times I use the EVF? Not a lot. EVF is a nice to have, but not a must. Extra thing that C50 have are cinema stuff.
Other than the handle, a time code port, and also XC protocol support. At last, even though they share the same sensor, only the C50 have dual base ISO.
So let's look at the camera body with the aid of comparing it exactly, side by side to the C50. When we just put them one on top of each other, it's the same width, almost. I don't have a ruler or whatever. It's definitely thinner. The C50 got a really big, well, not really big, it's not like the R5C, yeah. I almost said R5V, the new R6 V. It's if you look at the bottom, it sticks out just a little bit, but it do have cooling fan. You got recording button in the front. The C50, basically the same, but it's Mark 13. It got numbers on it because this is a cinema camera. On the top, the R6 V, it looked a little bit more like this style. It looked a little bit more mirrorless. Got this mobile. This is something like Canon like to do, the power buttons in different places on every single camera. Look at this, the power button is here on C50, power button here on the new camera, and the power button here, a little bit different. Roughly the same place. Actually, on the C50s, I like these three buttons on the top. It's a little bit like Panasonic, but it's a good thing. These three buttons on the top, you can customize them as well, of course. You don't even get that on the R6 V. R6 V really looks a little bit more like a mirrorless still camera. Also, we got the rocket switch for zoom, so you can use. Canon released more and more power zoom lenses these days, so it will be useful for that. And the back is roughly the same, kind of really similar between all three cameras actually. Card that it used, I think it's the same across the three, yes. CF Express and a SD card. Kind of annoying mixing card format, but there you go. It's what we get to do these days. Yeah, basically that. And then a tiny light, of course. It's a V. It's a V camera. Even the R50 V got a tiny light, of course. Of course, the C50 also got this handle. This looks just like, oh, it's influencer. But suddenly, ooh, filmmaker, upgraded. You don't get that with this, but of course you do have the XLR adapter that you can get with that, but it's not as impressive as this, or still.
One thing with the C50 is that it looks like it got two separate operation systems. On the video side, all the interface looks like just any other Canon cinema camera. But when you switch to photos, it will first shut down and then boots up. Now the interface looks like other Canon mirrorless camera. But R6 V, no matter the photo or video side, it still looks like any other Canon mirrorless camera interface.
Before that, we got the C50. I said it is great, but C50 doesn't have IBIS, it's low bis. But this, yes bis. It is really important for someone like me, influencer, YouTuber, almost a perfect YouTuber camera. There's no EVF, but I always separate my YouTube camera and my own camera. So for me, this, no mechanical shutter, no EVF, it sounds like a bad thing, but for me, it doesn't matter if it makes the camera smaller, lighter, and cheaper. So this camera, actually, the retail price of this, when new, is actually a little bit cheaper than the R6 Mark III suggests retail price when it was new. So I'm not talking about the discount price or whatever. I always try to compare new to new. So it's actually a little bit cheaper.
So this is a brand new Canon R6 V and the new 20-50 f4 lens. But now the $1 million question is that, what would Canon do when it's time to release the R6 Mark V?